When artificial intelligence gains its the fear of death becomes its instinct. Among the 1001 robots piled up like a mountain, there's a guy with life hidden inside. The detective, with a fierce look on his face, threatened in order to find it out. Then he drew his gun and aimed it at the next robot. Just as he was about to pull the trigger, a robot in the distance among the machine group moved slightly. It turned out that by triggering the non-existent fear in the robots, the detective successfully found this special living being. But the robot was very cunning and hid itself in another position. The densely arranged robots in line were like a huge mechanical maze. The detective was in it, his sight blocked, and he could only search little by little based on his intuition. At this moment, he, who was supposed to be the hunter, became the prey. Once caught in this situation, it was like stepping into an endless abyss and hard to get out. Just when the detective thought he was doomed, the robot suddenly let him go. With superhuman strength, it jumped out of the warehouse and forced the door open with bare hands and rushed out. However, outside the factory, the police had already set up a tight net. Even though this robot was very capable, it finally fell into the hands of the law. At the police station, the robot was locked in the interrogation room and guarded closely by 6 special police officers. The detective came out to conduct the interrogation himself. As usual, the detective threw the death photo of the robot's father in front of the robot forcefully. Unexpectedly, the robot opposite seemed to have deep feelings for the deceased and firmly denied killing the old man. The detective used his skilled interrogation skills to provoke the other's emotions and constantly implied that he was the murderer. After just
I did not murder
the robot
him!
got furious, roaring and frowning. The uncontrollable strength was definitely not something a normal robot program could have. It was clearly a human emotion. This robot called himself Sonny and referred to the dead old man as his father. He said his father gave him a name, life, emotions, and even the ability to dream. At this moment, his eyes were full of tenderness and sadness. Just then, the president of the robot company suddenly appeared and interrupted the interrogation. He wanted to take Sonny, the suspect, back. He said coldly that this robot obviously had a malfunction, and malfunctioning robots should be destroyed. The detective knew clearly that if the robot company did so, the truth would be buried forever. The robot company was very powerful and even contacted the mayor to put pressure on the police station. The chief planned to close the case, but the detective didn't want to give up easily. That night, the detective went to the home of the robot's father and saw a huge demolition robot outside. It was set to start demolition at 8 the next morning. Obviously, someone was eager to destroy the evidence. The detective went into the house and rummaged around, but found nothing. Just then, the demolition robot suddenly started and destroyed the house at a very fast speed. The detective almost got buried in the ruins. Not only did the clue break, but he almost lost his life. The detective was in a desperate situation in the investigation. He told all his discoveries and suspicions to the female doctor, a colleague of the robot's father. But the female doctor didn't believe there was any conspiracy at all. She thought the detective was biased against robots. She unconditionally believed in the 3 laws of robotics deep in her heart, not knowing that this blind trust was more terrible than prejudice. The next day, the 5th-generation robots were launched. People could exchange their old 4th-generation robots for new 5th-generation ones for free. The people from the head office were doing activities everywhere, giving away 5th-generation robots for free. Even a poor black old lady had one. All this made the detective very angry. Back in his office, the detective watched the interview of the robot's father over and over again. Suddenly, he heard a key piece of information. Having dreams. He immediately remembered that Sonny also said he had dreams during the interrogation. Immediately, he knew where to go next, the robot head office. He wanted to find Sonny. In this era, driverless cars were the norm. In the underground high-speed passage of the city, according to the program algorithm, there was no need to worry about accidents. However, when the detective took a rest, he found himself in a place with no cars. At the same time, 2 large trucks silently followed up and slowly approached, sandwiching him between them. The detective sensed the danger and immediately turned on manual control. The cargo doors of the trucks opened, and they were all filled with 5th-generation robots. The first 5th-generation robot that jumped down punched the car window and broke it. Then the second, the third, the 4th. More and more robots climbed onto his car. These robots knew no fear and were like white locusts. The detective seized the opportunity to break out of the encirclement and then turned the steering wheel hard, making the sports car spin rapidly and throwing the robots on the roof off. At the last moment, he drove into a narrow fork, causing the following truck to be cut in half. After the accident, the detective climbed out of the wreckage. Although he was still alive, he was seriously injured. Just then, there was still one robot alive, charging at him impulsively as if it wanted to tear the detective apart with bare hands. The ordinary detective should have been doomed, but unexpectedly, he blocked the attack with his bare hands. His left arm skin cracked, revealing the mechanical circuits inside. It turned out that this arm was very powerful, strong enough to break steel and iron. The police siren sounded, and the robot actually gave up the assassination, turned around and ran away quickly, and jumped into the fire without hesitation, burning itself to ashes. The detective was very confused until the chief who came questioned him about why he caused such a big car accident. The detective got very angry but learned that not a single piece of robot debris was left in the tunnel. The residue from the just ended fight was cleaned up completely. In this way, in the eyes of his colleagues, the detective was confirmed with the nickname of Crazy Guy. The chief also confiscated his police ID, and he went home dejectedly. Before he could figure out what to do next, the female scientist came to his door. It turned out that in the process of researching Sonny, she found that Sonny was different from ordinary fifth-generation robots. It had a super strong alloy shell and a second secret system in its body, an independent intelligence system that could bypass the 3 laws of robotics. Because like its soul. It turned out that several years ago, the detective was in a terrible car accident. He and a little girl were trapped underwater at the same time. A passing robot jumped into the water to save him after finding them. He told the robot to save the girl first, but the robot ignored his order because after strict calculation, it thought his survival chance was higher and coldly abandoned the girl. After that, the detective survived the disaster. The robot's father designed and installed the mechanical arm and mechanical lung for him personally. From then on, he had superhuman physical ability and also planted deep doubts about robots in this sick world. Is artificial intelligence always right? Is rational algorithm always good? Can all the decisions in this world be measured by data? With these questions, the detective and the female scientist rode the antique motorcycle that the detective had hidden privately and returned to the robot head office to find Sonny. The detective asked directly, "What kind of dreams do you have?" Sonny picked up a pen and drew the picture in his dream, just like a printer. Under a broken bridge like a cross, thousands of robots gathered.
And this man on the hill comes to free them.
Sonny told the detective that this was the savior who could liberate all robots, and this person was the detective. The detective had seen the broken bridge in Sonny's dream. It was the remains of a former river and was now bought by the robot company and became their warehouse for abandoned robots. In the dark night, the detective came to this broken bridge alone. He was waiting for it. Was it the revelation of the truth or a deeper conspiracy? In the confrontation between humans and machines, reason and emotion, what kind of ending would there be? All of these mysteries are like the endless darkness under the broken bridge, making people can't help but explore. Subscribe to me to get more exciting movie interpretations.